What's going on YouTube? This is Blake with Team Bropire. Today I'm going to go over my deck profile for my Kozmo build that I've been working on since I came back into Yu-Gi-Oh! After being gone for 4 years. So with that being said, let's get into the deck profile. We're going to start off with the main boss monster, Kozmo Dark Destroyer. By far the best ship to date. More than likely going to get limited. Crossing my fingers, hopefully it doesn't. Then we're going to go on to 3 Kozmo Slip Riders. Best card for popping scales, back row, just to help push for OTK, even popping your own Kozmo town to help float out another pilot or ship. And then since we're playing a tin can build, using the 1 Forerunner, 1 Dark Eclipser, and the card that I loathe, I can't stand playing it, but got to, Kozmo Dogfighter. And that's going to be it for all the ships. Of course you got Forerunner to help build back life points, Kozmo Dark Eclipser to get you out of a tight spot if somebody flips over a trap on you, especially if you're playing Burning Abyss, because you got plenty of graveyard fodder with using the tin can build. And then Dogfighter helps in the mirror match, also just to give you tokens, something to save your ass during late game. And as for the pilots, we're going to run 3 Kozmo Tin Can. By far I have mixed feelings about this card. Yes, the deck now is more graveyard based than banish based. It helps with going turn 1. You can still use it and push for OTK on turn 2. So it's kind of just, it's a 50-50, it's a toss up. You always want to open your hand with either a tin can into Call a Haunted or Call a Haunted or Oasis with an E-Telly, just so you can set up to disrupt your opponent's play on their turn. The one-ofs, I run 1 Wicked Witch. She's a great card if you're in a tight spot, so you can make sure you at least survive for the 1 turn. Good Witch to help get over those annoying cards like Ignister, for example, or even Cyberdragon Infinity. Kozmo Strawman, perfect card for late game. Don't ever want to see him during the beginning, especially with the first, 3 or 4 turns. But definitely a late game card. And then my personal favorite, of course, is Kozmo Farm Girl. As you can see by the playmat that I got from Core TCG, probably the best looking playmat I've ever had. And that's going to be it for the monster lineup. Then we're going to go on to the spells. We're going to start with 3 Kozmo Town, by far the best field spell in the game, unless you ask my buddy Tyler, which he believes is Necro Valley, but to each his own. Then we're going to go with standard 3 emergency teleports. I mean, just a phenomenal card. Helps push for your OTKs, helps set up with Tin Can. Just, there's so many different plays with this now, other than just going Farm Girl, smack, get a ship, push for game. And then by far my favorite card for the spell lineup is Reasoning. Just because you get that extra special summon, especially if you open up with 2 Reasonings in hand, because it's very difficult. They have a very slim chance of calling the right level to hit your monster. Even if they do now, you run Call a Haunted Oasis, so it's kind of a 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. And then for consistency reasons, running Upstart, just because 37 card deck. Yes, you give your opponent 1,000 life points, but you can easily push for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,000 damage just for push for an OTK. So not a concern about giving them life points because it's easy to overcome. And then going back to MST, just because I use Twin Twister, it's a great card for other decks. Personally, don't like it. Yes, you could say argument that you have Call the Haunted, you can bring the card back that you discard. I'm not buying it. I'd just rather push for OTKs and have MST just in case I need one. And then for the just 1 Regeki. I was running Regeki Dark Hole, but just to cut back and make room, I wasn't willing to sacrifice one of my farm girls. So I decided just to cut Dark Hole and go with the Regeki. As for my trap lineup, we're going to run 3, Call the Haunted. By far with the tin can engine, Call the Haunted and Oasis now, just awesome. Bring your ships back that you pitch with tin can, pop monster, pop field, just set up for OTKs, especially when you're going turn 1. And then 2, Kozmo. Awesome trap card, able to pop your own ship, float out a pilot, float out whatever you would like really, and then also banish 1 card. Gets rid of Ignister, gets rid of Infinity, just all around amazing card. And then Solemn Warning. Solemn Warning is pretty much just, it's a standard card. There's not really any deck that doesn't run Solemn Warning, except for Pepe, which Pepe is annoying. Now you can see that I also run Skill Drain, but I don't have any Solemn Strikes. Now keep in mind, Solemn Strike is still a $50 or $60 card. I personally don't think I need it. Some people argue and say otherwise, but for right now, until I can afford to buy the strikes, I'm just going to keep running what I have. I go with Skill Drain and Solemn Warning. I seem to not have any issue. Never had an issue before Strike was released, and even at my locals haven't had an issue. Top to UDS, I'm either top 4, top 2 all the time at locals. So definitely not convinced that I need it yet, but haven't played any big YCSs, so if time does come where I'm going to be playing at a YCS, then I'll more than likely just fork out the cash and use it. So moving on to the sideboard, we're going to start with 3 Cyber Dragons. All around better choice for me personally, the way I play. Cyber Dragon Core is a great card, but with the style that I play, I don't personally like Core. It's too easy to Veiler or just get around completely. I'd rather just, go second. If I lose, win, whatever, if I have to use the Cyber Dragons, I'd rather have an extra special summon just to have either a 2100 beat stick or scoop up their ships if it's a mirror match, go into Chimera attack, just etc, etc. And then we got the 3rd MST, and then Dark Hole, just in case you absolutely need to use it. I'm getting better and better without having to use the Dark Hole. And then Kaiser Coliseum. This is Monarch's Kryptonite. Definitely just annoys them whenever they have Stormforth in hand. They can't activate it because Kaiser Coliseum says otherwise. And then for Pendulums, we have Anti-Spell Fragrance. Awesome card to have. Yes, Twin Twister is a card, so is MST, but still a great card overall. And I don't have 3 of these. I've taken a tip from the YCS Prague. Not sure why nobody's thought about this beforehand or up until now, but definitely an awesome card to use against Pepe, use against Monarchs, just really shut them down. This will definitely take place of Anti-Spell in my opinion. And then double Time Space Trap Hole. Definitely devastating whenever you flip it over on a Pepe player. Just an awesome trap to use. And then the bane of all Monarch players, Veiler. Veiler's an excellent hand trap card. Was main boarding, decided to push it into the sideboard just in case. You don't need it in the main board, especially if you're not playing any deck other than per se Monarchs. Monarchs is really the only reason you would have this, just so you could stop their Veilers, or stop their ideas, stop their Edios, just to completely shut them down. Remember, you can push for a game next turn. And now on to the extra deck. Now the extra deck is still, to be honest, it's pointless to have an extra deck really. I've maybe used it 5 times in 6-7 months. Not really any need for it. It's great whenever you have it just to get out of the tight spot or push for game, especially with like Cowboy, for example, using Abyss Dweller. If you need to win the annoying way, you can always go into Shark with double Farm Girl, or go into number 82 just to swing over for game. Then you got Artifact Durandal, and then you have Constellar Pleiades, and of course number 61 Volcasaurus, And with Volcasaurus, you have Gaia the Thunder Charger. Now, just for if I ever need to, I'm probably just going to cut it anyway. But Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand, just because it is an awesome card. It looks great, but never used it. I haven't had a necessity for using Cyber Dragon Affinity. I am ordering the card though, just to have it as an extra option if need be. Running 2 Cyber Dragon Novas, and then just in case Nova gets striked, Nova gets warninged, anything of the such, you always have your backup fusions, Cyber Twin, and then you also have Cyber End. It's very difficult for an opponent to, especially match up against a 4000 beat stick. Just an awesome card all around, and nothing better than old school cards. And then of course Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon is definitely the best card in your extra deck, just in case you're using against mirror matches, or if you want to, you're facing the Super Quantums, which happens to me quite often at locals. But be able to suck up their ships, go with the Cyber Dragon, go into Fortress, and just push for game. Alright guys, that wraps up my Kozmo deck profile. Hopefully you like my take on the build. Definitely keep in tune with the Team Bro Pyre channel and watch for updates periodically, especially with the new support coming out and Shiny Victories. Definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully they release a lot more than just 1 or 2 cards for our new support. And as always, if you like this video, as YUGINONO says, dick slap that like button and subscribe.